Good. Did you record?
I'm doing
I
it.
didn't hear the thing. There you go. Like I didn't hear it yet. So, hello, welcome everybody. It's our Tuesday night team training. If you don't know me yet, hi, my name's Jenny. I am an Emerald leader here on the Manifest Mafia. So I wanted to hop on and train tonight because it is really important. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, we have 24 days of deals going on. You will not use this website. You will obviously use your own website, but 24 days of deals is available to everybody. Our product of the month is birthday cake. That is one of our tinctures. It's one of our most basic, but like it's an amazing tincture, but it's a very straightforward, good tincture for just everybody. And so, if anybody here had any questions about tinctures, I would love for you to drop them in the comments. I know most of the people who are watching are like, we've been here for a while. If you have anything you want to know, let me know. And I can kind of start with that. But I was just going to go ahead and cover some things in case you don't know, or a little refresher course for us, or if you're somebody who's catching this replay. Hopefully, this will offer a ton of valuable information to you about our products, why tinctures are amazing, and why your people should consider starting with one of those. So first and foremost, if you don't know, CBD is something that acts on your endocannabinoid system, which is a highway of kind of paths that communicate between all of your systems. You have CB receptors, which are your cannabinoid receptors, on 11 of 13 of your major systems in your body, like your reproductive system, your digestive system, your immune system. You have receptor sites on all of those different things, which is why CBD is such a good, can be an effective treatment. I'm not a doctor. You can obviously Google this stuff yourself, but you can also, go on Amazon or anything and find lovely books like this, where it says cannabis is medicine, that are written by different doctors. This is written by Dr. Bonnie Goldstein about cannabis therapy. This one here was written by Leonard Linnell. He is not a cannabis doctor, but he is somebody who is a pioneer in cannabis therapy who has worked in the industry since the 1990s. So this is chock full, 2 books that are full of amazing information if you want more. I'm just kind of giving a little bit of overview here, but there is science behind this. I am going to start out with one thing that I want everybody to know. I think it is one of the most important thing. You can go and look it up. In 1999, the Department of Health and Human Services was awarded this patent. So I'm just going to read this excerpt from this book, and you can look it up more yourself and derive from it what you will. But as you're speaking with people, have confidence that yes, people are going to be like, oh, so you're saying it's a miracle drug or something of that nature. Like maybe not so much, but kind of. Maybe you should look into it a little bit more. But this is what I want you all to know. Okay. It says, I was floored to discover that a patent granting exclusive rights on the use of CBD and other cannabinoids to treat certain diseases was granted over a decade ago to none other than a U.S. government agency. Patent 6630507, entitled Cannabinoids as Antioxidants and Neuroprotectants, was awarded to the Department of Health and Human Services in October of 2003. Scientists forming part of the National Institutes of Health filed it 4 years earlier in 1999. It covered the use of non-psychoactive cannabinoids to treat neurological diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and stroke, and diseases caused by oxidative stress such as heart attack, Crohn's disease, diabetes, and arthritis. In other words, the same government that is making it so difficult for patients to access life-threatening diseases. So, like I said, I just want you guys to know, like, I found that everything I can in my power to make sure people know that. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the people in the world know that little line, because like that is enough empowerment for them to go forward and look and realize that maybe they should give CBD a chance. And so if you can get people to that point, this is what you need to tell them. If they've tried edibles and they say that they don't work for them, they need to try a tincture. If they say, oh, I've tried cannabis or I've tried CBD before and it doesn't work for me, ask them how they've had it before, right? If they say that they've had a tincture before, ask them what kind of tincture it was. If they have a picture of the bottle, that would be amazing. Have them send you a picture of the label, because I guarantee you that it's probably something that's been sitting in their cabinet for like 2 years, or something they grabbed off the shelf somewhere inside of, Walmart or their local grocery store or a gas station on the corner. And it's made with hemp oil. It's a very low milligram. It's not third party tested. It's just not a quality tincture. And if you can convey the importance to them that they have a quality tincture to start with, you might be able to get through to them, like really. And you need to be able to have the confidence yourself that what you're selling to them and the products that we offer are amazing. And I'm going to give you like enough knowledge, so hopefully you have that going forward if you don't already. First off, so like I said, so we now understand hopefully that like there's a system that can actually use this stuff. So the reason we want people to start with a tincture is for tinctures are going to be the most straightforward. Like it won't really interfere with a lot of if they're medications. And I don't want to say that entirely because we're not doctors, so we can't say it's not going to interfere with their stuff, right? But there is a drug interaction checker. If you check it, you need to know a few things. If people are on medications where they can't have grapefruit, they need to be careful with CBD, because CBD acts on the same like enzyme receptor. So if they took CBD and they have medications where they can't take grapefruit and they took them together, it could drop their levels too low. That's very dangerous. If somebody is on medication and seems like they're people will do what they want to. If they are insistent on trying this instead of other things or at the same time, I make sure they know, please don't take it within 2 hours of taking any sort of other medications. That's usually a decent amount of time for something to process, in your stomach and get out of it before you add something else to it. But again, we're not doctors, but just so you guys all have this information to yourself. And so, because you will get people asking questions. If you are ever uncomfortable, divert to your upline, or tell people that they need to contact somebody, or they need to research on their own. You don't have to answer questions for people. I just want to throw that out there. But okay. Where's I going with this? Okay. So general rule of thumb, if people are getting the tinctures, is start low and go slow. Tinctures go underneath your tongue. They are absorbed through the mucous membranes in your mouth, and they hit in about 15 to 30 minutes, and they're going to last for about 6 to 8 hours on most people. That's going to vary depending on the type of tincture, but I would say a general time frame is about 6 hours of relief. So you take a tincture, you're going to get about 6 hours of relief, and you can kind of tell people that. Cannabis therapy is noted as patient, like it's very patient reliant, right? So your people that you're giving these tinctures to are going to need to be focused on how they feel. Tell them to keep a log. Be like, whenever you take this tincture and, you feel relief, you don't feel like as nerve wracked at your kids, like you want to yell, keep a little log and let me know how long that lasts. If they get to 5 hours, then they start getting to a point where they're yelling again. Maybe we want to have them on they take a dropper every 4.5 hours kind of thing. And I'll explain that dosing to you in a minute, or the serving size, I should say. I'm trying to use proper terminology here. Okay. So start low and go slow. The biggest effect of people possibly taking too much, or the biggest side effect, is going to be they're going to get a headache. Okay. If people have too much CBD, they might get a little bit of a headache. They might get sleepy. Usually more water or taking it back a little bit for a few days can alleviate that if that happens to your people. But if you happen to hear them be like, oh, I took this and I got a headache, just tell them take a little bit less, or make sure they're drinking water. That's pretty much standard with all supplements. It's just something new that you're introducing to your body that might need a little bit more to process. So if you are taking TBD, a good dose for most adults is going to be about 50 milligrams a day. Like 50 milligrams a day is a really standard dose for most people, which in our products is, depending on what you have, most of our gummies are 25 milligrams. Our tinctures, if you have 1,000 milligram tincture, one dropper is going to have 33 milligrams. So if somebody has a 1,500 milligram bottle, they have 2 servings per day in one bottle. They have a 30-day supply twice a day in one bottle if they have a 1,500 milligram tincture. 2,000, 3,000 tincture are blueberry cushion or minty. They definitely have enough to last them a full month of spaced out kind of therapy to get them through the day to see what it feels like whenever they properly supplement their endocannabinoid system. This is another reason I say it's a really good way to start somebody, because most people will say, I don't have the money to buy 2 products, right? Most people are really penny pinching right now, and that's fine. They should get a tincture, because a tincture, if they have absorption issues, they're going to still feel it because it bypasses their absorption issues. It goes straight through into their bloodstream via the mucous membranes in their mouth, right? It's mostly not going, like I said, it's mostly not going to interfere with maybe other things that they might take just because it's so straightforward. Something like our Vipi also has ashwagandha in it. It has 5-HTP in it. So as much as I love our pink pill, it's one of my favorites. If somebody's on other medications, it's not a good one to have, because, you know, those other things can kind of play a factor in it. So tinctures, again, are one of the best things for people to start with. Okay. Most people don't experience any like bad effects whenever they use cannabis, right? Like it's pretty straightforward, especially if you're using a broad spectrum CBD, which we're going to get to in just a second. But you do need to know, some people will say, like, I didn't feel anything. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes people need to have their liver or their system primed a little bit. The first 1 or 2 times they might not feel anything. So make sure they've taken it for like a couple days and be like, yeah, once you get a couple days in you, maybe if it's somebody who has never taken any sort of cannabis, they're going to need a second for their body to be like, holy crap, what's this CBD thing? And what do I do with it? And then like, it's going to figure it out. Right. So, okay. If we didn't, I say, let me go ahead. Am I doing good? Everybody with me still following me? Okay. Say check what happened to me. 1 dose liver. Okay. Okay. Broad spectrum versus full spectrum tincture, you guys. A broad spectrum tincture means that it's just CBD and other it's other cannabinoids, but a broad spectrum doesn't have THC. So it doesn't have any of the psychoactive, psychotropic, intoxicating cannabinoids in there that would make somebody pop dirty on a urinalysis. So a full spectrum tincture has THC, all the psychotropic, you know, cannabinoids that would be in there. It has CBD, CBG, CBC. There are 113 different cannabinoids. A full spectrum tincture can encompass all of them. It cannot be above a 0.03%, because that is the federal limit of a THC in it. So it's not enough to get somebody high, right? But it's still enough that if somebody were to take a drug screen, it's going to pop positive if they're taking a full spectrum tincture. So you want to make sure whenever you're recommending tinctures to people, you find out if they need to pass urinalysis and stick with the broad spectrum. I like broad spectrum for certain people anyway. If somebody is a smoker, I really would say go with the broad spectrum anyway, because you're already getting plenty of THC from the full spectrum, right? And well, unless they're getting the minty. And the reason why I say that is because our blueberry kush and our birthday cake are nanotechnology tinctures. So you have like regular tinctures, then you have nanotechnology tinctures. Nanotechnology means it's going to have 100% absorption rate. Somehow they've basically taken these molecules of CBD and they've made it so they are small enough that they can be fully absorbed by our cells. There's no CBD molecule that's too big that can't be used by our system, which does happen if you have a regular hemp tincture. That's basically why it doesn't have 100% absorption. It's because the molecules aren't small enough and they don't get broken down by our system enough to be able to be absorbed and used. Whereas the nanotechnology has kind of already been primed, right? And so it gets into our system a little bit better. Okay, our tinctures are extracts. They're not concentrates. So whenever it comes to the carrier oils, our carrier oils are better. So I'm just going to read from my notes here because I don't often talk about this, but it is important to note that like sometimes people will send me a picture and will say like, it'll be like just hemp oil is what's in their CBD tincture, and it has 300 milligrams of a CBD isolate. CBD isolate means it's just CBD. Broad spectrum means it can be CBD, CBG, CBC, all the different cannabinoids. But a CBD isolate is just CBD. Sorry. We say nanotechnology is a scientific process used to manipulate / create more easily absorbed particles of CBD by making them small enough to easily pass through cell membranes for 100% absorptions. So these kind of tinctures are preferred for fast absorption, lower dosing requirements, and longer shelf life sustainability. So that's another reason that nanotechnology tinctures are so good. So our product of the month right now is the birthday cake. Our birthday cake is a 1,000 milligram broad spectrum nanotechnology tincture with MCT oil. Do you have the birthday cake with you? Is it MCT oil though? It is MCT oil. Okay, so MCT oil stands for medium chain triglycerides. So I'm going to read this last part here so that you can understand why the birthday cake is a superior tincture. Okay, so CBD oil. So we go all the way back. Hemp oil is made from the stalk of the hemp plant, but contains no CBD. So hemp seed oil is made from the seeds, and although they don't contain any CBD in the seeds themselves, the seeds are nutrient dense and they offer valuable omega-3, omega-6, and vitamins B and E. So when people see hemp seed oil and then it has 300 milligrams of a broad spectrum isolate and they think that that entire oil is like a CBD oil, it's not. It's just a different part of the hemp plant that has been broken down for them. So there are so many companies out there that try to pass off like just a hemp oil as like a tincture, and it's nowhere near the same thing as what we offer. So CBD oil is something that is extracted and produced. Oh, sorry. CBD oil is an extracted product from the hemp plant. It's used a CO2 extraction technique or so not all, but we use a high quality CO2 extraction technique or cryogenic alcohol extraction to get our CBD oil. So it's extracted from the hemp plant. And then we also sometimes use MCT oil. MCT oil stands for medium chain triglycerides, which are fats that are more easily stored and quickly burned than the long chain triglycerides. So, sorry, this basically helps the CBD oil from being broken down by your digestive tract, and it bypasses and then goes straight to the liver. So MCT oil is a carrier oil that we use in some of our tinctures. In addition to the hemp oil, we use the MCT oil for the birthday cake. So basically what all that is saying is that when you take our birthday cake tincture and you take it internally, our body can like basically kind of take that tincture and like hold it, like keep it in a reserve to be able to be used later on, and it's not being passed through as easily. So the way CBD and THC work is they're both lipolytic, which means they love fat cells. And so they're going to be stored in your fat cells. So using an MCT oil helps the tincture basically last longer because it helps that storage aspect. Does that make sense? Like, I know that all that terminology was like really scientific, but like, hopefully that helps. Like that's why it works, because it's fatty. So like, it just kind of helps it hang out a little bit longer than it would if it's just in like a hemp oil. Okay. So last but not least is just our tinctures. We have a whole bunch of different tinctures. I'm going to run through them real quick. If anybody has any questions, but so we have Plain Jane. Plain Jane is our 500 milligram full spectrum CBD oil. It is good for if parents are okay with it, it's good for small children because it is 500 milligrams, which means they each dropper. So when we have our tinctures, the way you figure out how strong a tincture is you take the milliliters. So ours is it's 1 ounce. So 1 ounce bottles is 30 milliliters. So you take the 30 milliliters and you divide it by the number of milligrams that are in the bottle, right? So this one is 1,000 milligrams. So you take 1,000 milligrams, so you divide it by the 30. So 30 goes into 1,000 33 times. So each dropper in a 1,000 milligram bottle is 33 milligrams per dropper. So if you have a 500 milligram bottle, it's 16 milligrams per dropper. If you had a 1,500 milligram bottle, it would be 50 milligrams per dropper because it would be 1,500 divided by 50, right? If you have a 2,000 milligram bottle, it's 66 milligrams per dropper. And if you have a 3,000 milligram bottle, which we have all of these, you have a 100 milligrams per dropper. But our last two are sprayers. It doesn't matter, but the serving size on them when you have it is 100 milligrams per spray. So the plain Jane being 500 milligrams is good for small children and adults with minor problems, and then larger dogs. So we actually have a Marley Jane tincture, which is our tincture that is made for dogs. Fun fact, mammals all have CBD, all have an endocannabinoid system, so they can all use CBD. Dogs are much more sensitive, so they don't need as much as we do. So you need to make sure that we are, bye Christy, we need to make sure we're being careful when we're taking care of our canine friends, but so we always want to make sure we're starting low and going slow with them too. But if you have a dog that has hip problems or, and actually so don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there are legitimate studies with dogs, like scientific studies with dogs that are like proven that there's stuff out there still on dogs with CBD. Don't think it says it with humans. Don't think you find much of those studies on humans, but they do have the dogs. So, excuse me. We have watermelon mojito, which is a really good flavor. I personally love it. It's a very mild, fruity flavor, and then it's got like just this little bit of mint behind it. We have a 500 milligram and a 1,500 milligram right now this month, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but those are on special for 50% off. So that's another good tincture right now that we have to offer. It's hemp seed oil. So it has CBD and CBG. I know I didn't really touch on what CBG is, but this is really just more on what the difference between all the tinctures is. Our tinctures are superior with the CBG. CBG stands for cannabidiol, which is the kind of stem cell, if you will, of all of the cannabinoids. So whenever you include that one particularly, it really helps with the entourage effect. The entourage effect, meaning that basically the more of the plant you keep together, the better it works, right? Like everybody can kind of understand that like if you had something and you broke all the components down and then you rebuilt it, like it's not as strong. Or if you broke something all the way down and you only had one piece that you were building with, it's not going to be as good as if you had a couple pieces of the foundation put together still, right? So CBG and CBD together kind of work to help building that foundation, which it's better for your system to be able to use it more in its natural form. It actually, I think, probably more closely mimics like the way it is naturally produced in our body. That's just my own perspective. A 500 milligram tincture is considered a low concentration tincture, which again is great for children and minor problems. Moderate concentration tinctures are tinctures of between 50 and 100 milligrams. So our moderate concentration tinctures are again 1,500 milligram up. So birthday cake is still considered a low concentration tincture. However, that nanotechnology 100% absorption, making you have to use far less of it, to me bumps it up more towards that moderate concentration, which is why I say it's a good one for everybody to be able to use. Moderate concentrations are what you want to look at if people have more like debilitating mental issues, like dark thoughts, or they suffer from chronic pain. We have one very special tincture that I have in here right now, just because these are going in order of strength. We have our 777. 777 is a CBG tincture. 600 milligrams of organically grown CBG. So again, this is that stem cell of all the cannabinoids. On the DL, again, we're just friends here chatting with each other. I'm not a doctor, but if you have your customers or clients that are talking to you and they have any sort of autoimmune disorders, I would definitely suggest that they look into this, because CBG is amazing for inflammation. Inflammation is at the root of a lot of autoimmune diseases. It is, so we highly suggest it for those with autoimmune diseases like fibromyalgia, for example. We have a lot of people in the company who use this that do have those sort of conditions where they have overactive nerves, and CBG seems to calm them. So it has 600 milligrams of the organically grown CBG and then 177 milligrams of CBD. So it's less CBD, it's more CBG heavy, which I have not ever heard of anybody else having a product like this. I think it definitely sets us apart. We have the Dragon's Breath 1000 milligram, both broad and full spectrum. That again is with hemp seed oil. So then we have our birthday cake. That is the organic growing nanotechnology broad spectrum oil. Yeah, great taste. It's really easy for kids to take because of the taste. And it's also very fast acting. If you're dosing children, if you're giving this to children, go based off, I would say, starting out to go based off of weight, but again, start low, go slow. So a couple drops is literally sometimes all you need, and it's better. Less is more in this. Blueberry Kush 2000 milligrams is, again, it's organic growing nano optimized broad spectrum oil. For those with severe mental issues, such as like PTSD, major pain, seizures, problems that have been resistant to conventional therapies, those sorts of people that are looking for relief, you want to steer them in the direction of our Blueberry Kush, because they are going to need something that is stronger. We now have Minty, which is 3000 milligrams, which I would recommend for people with the big C that are trying to look towards for natural relief. And I would also highly suggest that they somehow find a way to get their hands on some RSO as well. That's just from your local cannabis friend here. So they want very high milligrams of both. Yes, they are going to be tired and they are going to want to sleep. And that's fine because their body needs rest. Another thing I should mention is that whenever people take CBD, you might hear people say, I get sleepy on this stuff. Okay, good. That is your body coming out of fight or flight. Actually, give it a week. Like I like to tell people, like, give it a week. You have not, like, your body has not rested in years, and it is finally coming to like a point where it's got a little calm coming. So give it a chance to settle and get adjusted to this new thing that's allowing it to calm down, and like your energy levels are going to come back up once you heal. So we have, again, the Minty was one of our last ones I was talking about. This is considered a macro dose tincture. So our Minty is our only macro dose tincture that we offer. And I was so freaking excited when they came out with it that we could finally had a macro available. So yes, again, with the, also for people with really bad pains. I have a guy who had a fusion. He had a motorcycle accident where he should have died and had a spinal fusion. And he started with the Blueberry Kush, and last month he got the Minty, and he came back and stocked up on it because it is also on special. It is $80 for 3000 milligrams of our Minty. Nanotechnology. This one, again, if you guys need to and you have to go live, you need to be talking about these tinctures. I'll give you these notes so that you can read over them and familiarize yourself with them, so you can sound, and feel more familiar with what you're talking about, hopefully, as you read over it. Get to know these because they are powerful. Tinctures are powerful. Like, I am very into the hemp side of our business. So, I focus on about 25 of the 60 products that we offer majorly. I mean, I have a few others that I use, but I'm mostly all canna here. So I gotta tell you what, like, I've done the reading. I've done any of the reading that I have done. I've not done like, and it's basically like, hey, if you have a good tincture, it has these boxes checked. And our tinctures check all those boxes. Like, so it's not like I'm reading up on just our stuff. It's like there's literature out there that tells you what to look for, and our tinctures fill those things, right? So our tinctures are all made just as something, so as well, organic grown hemp with like organic soil. That's important because hemp is a natural soil cleaner. So you want to make sure the soil that's what it's taking out of it, right? So the type of fertilizers that you're using and all of that. We use all organic things, no chemicals. That's really important because it would go into the buds. So we have labs, ISO certified labs, which are quality top notch. They have protocols. They have sanitary procedures. It's not somebody baking in their kitchen where, we don't want to know what people do in their kitchen. Okay, guys. Just saying. So, and then we also have, am I right, Holly? We don't want to know what people really do in their kitchen. You want something that has to go through a sanitation protocol. So ISO certified labs is a necessity here. And then we take our tinctures and we put them through third-party testing so that we also can ensure and guarantee to our customers that what we say is in there is in there. What we say isn't in there isn't in there. And we have a piece of paper from a lab that uses like microscopes and stuff that says it doesn't have the THC. So yes, you're safe and you can take this one, or no, you can't take this one. And that's all available to them on the website, which is amazing. Timing, real quick. Nanotechnology tinctures, as a general rule of thumb, is a faster metabolizer. So you're talking about 4 hours. Lower dose more often on those is the best way to administer them. Broad spectrum tinctures vary based on the carrier oil, but they usually hit within 20 to 45 minutes, and then last about 6 hours. So yes, I said, hopefully that was helpful. And the best way to start a tincture, 1 drop per hour, and then increase dosing every hour until relief is felt. So you would so if people are first starting, for example, you would say, you don't know how it hits. You can either go with 1/4 of their body weight divided into 2. So if somebody is 50 pounds, I'm sorry, if somebody is 200 pounds, 1/4 of their body weight would be 50 milligrams. So then you would take that divided into 2. You would suggest that person take 25 milligrams a day. Again, this is about why our gummies are about 25 milligrams, is because most adults are, somewhere around 160 to 200 pounds, average adult size. So that is like the, like I said, the bracket for our serving size is the right word, not dose. Whenever you're talking to people, just so you know, dose is a medical term. Serving size is what we are allowed to say. I mess up. I say dose a lot. You are not allowed to say dose. So, okay. So if you are dropping 1 drop, they would drop, let's say they start at 1 o'clock. They take 1 drop at 1 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, they take 2 drops. At 3 o'clock, they take 3. Let's say at hour 7, they hit relief. You're going to add the last 4 hours together. So you get 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4. Can't do my math. That's 22. So 22 drops is that person's serving size. Again, this is going to be on this paper for y'all. But and the reason why I want you to know this is because it's hard to tell somebody to take a half of a dropper or to take a full dropper whenever you first start, if you don't know what their weight is and like how to calculate that for them. So sometimes an easier way to do it is to tell them You can start by doing this drop technique, or tell them to take a quarter of a dropper every 4 hours for the first 2 days and see what that does for them. If that doesn't do enough, tell them to increase to a half of a dropper. Right. And then do that for 2 days. And hopefully at that point, if it's like too much, then they can cut it back a little bit. Again, this is something where we need to work with our people if they are really trying to experience relief. And you having this sort of an education to be able to help them is going to help keep them hooked. And it's going to help them realize that, like, you're not going to get relief from this stuff if you're not dosing it properly, if you're not taking it properly. Right. Like, and I say you're not going to get, you're not going to get the relief you deserve. The relief it can give you, the positive results it can actually deliver if you're not taking it correctly. So we need to be able to how to tell our people that. And I'm really hoping that this has helped you all understand a little bit better if you didn't already. But so I'm here for questions. Let me know if there's any questions in the comments, but I think that's probably all I got for now.
No, you covered everything. Anything that I was like thinking, you already started talking about next. And I was like, well, nope, that's it. Nope, she got it. Yep, she nailed it. You were really on top of your game last night, but you have good notes on all this stuff. And this is what lights your soul on fire. So I always love to listen to it. It's always a good refresher. Even like, the amounts that you're supposed to give everybody, that's a really good refresher. I like sometimes forget that. So I'm glad that we do these once in a while. And I'm glad that you brought it up. So thank you for training tonight. I appreciate you
I
a
have a
lot.
few people that I really hope will be coming on. They're not here yet, but I'm hoping within the next week they come on and they will be getting the tinctures. So I'll be sending this to them. So Shauna, if
Right.
you're out there, you'll be getting this. I hope you've watched it to the very end. Just kidding. Message me if you did.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. All right, well, I will end it so we can keep it to where it's at so we can send the replay to people, and I will share it in the team chats as soon as it's up. But thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we will see you
Thanks for
guys.
having me. Thanks for listening, y'all. Like I said, if you need me, let me know. I'm here to help.
Yes, for sure. I love everything about this training. So, all right, guys, we will see you next week. Bye.